Well, hello friends, and welcome to Rigor Mortis Tortoise, a YouTube channel all about game development. And today I'm going to be teaching you a method that I created to make pixel art without actually having any design skills. So let's get into it. When I was first trying to get into pixel art, I was pretty overwhelmed with how complex it was while seemingly also looking simple, and I realized, like everything else in game development, that it was going to take months and months and months for me to create something that I was proud of. And being a scrappy, broke indie developer, I ended up coming up with this technique in order to get me farther faster. So let me show you how I went from this to this, and also this to this. So if we don't have any design skills, the first step we're going to need to do is scour the internet for some source images that we have the licenses to use. My absolute favorite resource for this type of thing is opengameart.org. You can find amazing, high-quality, free assets, sometimes with attribution and sometimes without. So this is my first stop anytime I want to create something like this. And I found this amazing little alien right here that I wouldn't really use as is, but that I think would make some really, really cute pixel art. Now this next tool that I'm going to be introducing you to is really paramount to the process, and it is called the Pixelate effect by Pine Tools. You can upload any type of image you want, run it through the tool, and download it as a JPEG, PNG, or WebP file. You can adjust how pixelated you want the image as well, so for this guy I think I did about 4, and that seemed to give me the right effect for his size. Now at this step you can see that he looks pretty good, and you could use this in your game as is if you wanted to avoid this next step. However, if you want to make it look like he was made as a pixelized character in the beginning, let me show you how to clean this up a little bit. So let's take our little green alien friend and move him over to a photo editing software. Now part of the reason he doesn't look quite right is because he's just the wrong size. So he's a little bit too big for his britches right now. So for him, I ended up doing 40 by 80, and that seemed to get us the effect that we wanted. However, in doing that, you can see that as we've scaled him down, that he's lost a little bit of his crispness. So now, all I am doing is going in with a 1 pixel brush and giving him the definition that he needs. And as you can see, even though we've sped up the process a lot, that this can be a little bit tedious, especially when you're working with a sprite sheet and you're working with, 30 or so different sprites and different states. However, we are saving a lot of time in the creation process. It's also worth noting here that even though I am using Photoshop, that this is a fairly simple task for any sort of photo editor. So if you do not have Photoshop, you can use something like Pixelmator or a free alternative to Photoshop like Krita, which I've heard is really, really great. So there are free options to do this as well. And now that our little alien friend is all grown up, I want to show you the really, really cool part of this technique, which is transforming photographs into pixel art. So step number 1 again is trying to find some really great source material, and we are looking for photos where the foreground and the background are high contrast, just like this perfect little cupcake here. Now the next step is to remove the background so that we can use this in our game, and we're going to do that by going to Remove.bg, and this is a free tool that will literally remove any type of background from a photo. It's really, really amazing. They do have a paid version, but for this one, since we don't need a high resolution image, we can use this tool for absolutely free. And for this next step, we're going to do exactly what we did for the first photo, and we're going to go back over to Pine Tools and upload our cupcake with the background removed. Now, since we're using a little bit larger of a photo this time, I had to bump up the block size to be about 10, but now you can see we're getting this strange black border, but let me show you how to fix that. So now we're going to jump back over to Photoshop and then edit this photo there. Now this is one of my favorite Photoshop tricks. In order to get rid of that weird black border, we're going to go over to Select, we're going to go to Color Range, and then Sampled Colors. And once we drag our eyedropper tool over that area, we can select that area and delete it just like this. And now we're starting to see this piece of pixel art come together, but there's still a couple of things that we need to do to make this look right. Because this image originally had a background, you can see that there's a lot of empty space surrounding the pixel art, so I'm going to bring it out to the edges. Now it always helps to see the colors correctly by using a neutral gray background just like this. Now unlike our sprite, we would probably want this a bit smaller, so I ended up scaling it down to 32 by 32 pixels. And just look how perfect she is. I mean, I'm obsessed. Hopefully at this point your wheels are turning about just all of the amazing things that you could use with this technique, from creating icons to game objects to levels to characters. This is something that takes a little bit of effort but takes you a really long way. And I will be linking all of the tools and resources used in this video in the description section. And thank you so much for sticking around to the end of this video. I hope you learned something, and if you liked the content that you saw today, be sure to subscribe, and until then, I'll see you in the next video.